It finally happened. Elon Musk has revealed an incredibly cheap home that is affordable for sustainable living. Yet given Elon Musk's status, that appears conflicting with what one might expect from a tycoon. You know what? The man is a totally different person. Even Musk personally lives in a Tesla home that is even cheaper. By the end of this video, you will know if this house is for you or not. Join me today in this video as we explore Elon Musk's new $15,000 Tesla house. Well, Elon's bag has never been empty, in actuality. Before Tesla was successful in making electric cars available for purchase by the general public, they supplied 3,100 roadsters for an approximate price of $109,000. He started a production line at his firm in San Francisco to build a new model of car. Before we start, first clear your mind with the tiny house movement. There is presently a 100,000 units shortlisted for the residences because of their popularity. The tiny house movement supports modest small housing. Small houses often range in size from 100 to 400 square feet. The majority of tiny homes are constructed on trucks, so they can be relocated easily. They can be utilized as vacation homes or vacation rentals as a guest house in addition to their common use as permanent residences. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, is currently considering the possibility of postponing his work on developing electric automobiles by focusing on a recent favorite project. One such initiative that might turn out to be the future breakthrough in the real estate and housing industries is the creation of moderately priced homes. It is just wow, how a human brain could think so big. We are all surprised now that a Tesla is traveling across Australia in a tiny apartment that is entirely run by renewable power. Here are some things to consider if you're thinking about buying a Tesla tiny house. There are some aspects you should be aware of if you're interested in a little casita. First off, there is a 100,000 unit list for the dwellings at the moment. Second, just a few markets can purchase the residences. I know what you're thinking. Why are people interested in these tiny houses? Well, here's the answer. People are attracted to living in tiny homes for a variety of reasons. Some people wish to live smaller, simpler lifestyles. Others are drawn to tiny homes because of their affordable ownership costs and environmental friendliness. And some individuals simply find them to be quite cute and adorable. Moreover, who doesn't want to live in such a safe and eco-friendly house? The tiny house movement has received a lot of support for Elon Musk's buying of a boxable tiny house. That person chose to live simply in a modest place, even though they were highly affluent and could purchase whatever type of home they want. Others may be encouraged to think about doing the same by this. Let's jump to the history of this tiny house of $15,000. In March and April 2014, Tesla reported spending $2.6 billion to Solar City. After that, it unveiled its brand new solar-powered product, the electric wall, leaving the businessman to wonder where he plans to use all these solar panels. Musk created a $50,000 Lone Star in Boca Chica, Texas. So it's not the rich or lavish residence you might imagine from a billionaire on Twitter. The state acknowledged its unexpected action. Business insiders claim that after the Tesla CEO announced publicly that he wanted to simplify his living, he sold all 7 of his California residences in June 2020 and November 2021, netting roughly $128 million. The report states that a profit of around $250 million was made. Their epic fall spending spree came to an end when they sold their $16,000 square foot property in Hillsborough, California, with 7 rooms and bathrooms, as well as a grand ballroom and flexible library shelves for $30 million. A classy cocktail bar was present. You all are thinking what the cost of such a simple electronic and unique foldable box would be, right? Tesla, a well-known company, appears to have some thoughts on affordable housing. It doesn't sound natural, yes, a sustainable home for $15,000, considering how expensive their other product offerings are. The company states that the house has the weight of 2 tons with 6 by 2 by 4 meters in dimensions. Its solar memory is 1 Tesla Powerwall and solar energy for 2 kilowatt-hours photovoltaic system for 6 panels. So how is this mobile house working? The battery system, a rechargeable lithium-ion battery intended to self-consume solar energy and lessen reliance on solar panels, is the key component of this Tesla tiny house. A Tesla mobile workshop and configurator are housed inside the small home. Future Tesla tiny house owners will receive training from it on how to build a solar storage system for energy for their houses. The tiny solar power plant that powers Tesla House provides all of its electricity. That is pretty astonishing. The house also has a configurator that enables you to determine how the apartment can produce clean solar energy using solar cells. The Powerwall stores the energy so that it can be utilized all day and night. A specific Tesla app can be used to manage energy flow and efficiency. Not only this, with no electrical cables or hot holes, the Powerwall is perfect for kids and pets. Up to 10 units can be set next to one another on the floor, and the network can be wall-mounted. The energy system is waterproof no matter where it is mounted. Almost silent operation, much quieter and softer than generators. Stop wondering about what would be inside this tiny house. Here is something you are all eager to hear. Tesla Tiny House has environmentally friendly wood cladding, a complete kitchen including cabinets, a refrigerator, a washer, and a microwave. Yes, there is a window over the sink. A bathroom with a large counter, folding glass barn door, and deep bathtub. 375 square feet of living space with over 9 feet of ceilings, large doors and windows. A Boxable includes heating and air conditioning as well. Isn't this just incredible? Actually, the structure is made to be extremely durable and never break down. Steel, foam, and concrete are essential components, and they are all tough materials. It can withstand hurricane-force winds. There is no drywall or wood, thus there is no water damage or mold. The Boxable is made of non-flammable materials, yet nothing is completely fireproof. Homes that can be folded into shipping containers constructed in factories are basically Boxable homes. Therefore, it's not too difficult to determine what's inside the strange house made of steel, foam, and concrete. Years of development were required before they could decide which materials wouldn't damage the walls. Due to the laminated sheet construction of the floors and roof, they may be moved on public roads. Yes, the Tesla houses are also Boxable homes. Shipping and packaging are included in the cost. Other features must be paid for separately. Drainage, electricity, and air conditioning are already installed and connected to the house. This little house only has one story. By fusing more modules with the living area, you can add more. The home has a studio layout and is completely equipped. A home has a small carbon footprint, which is measured in carbon dioxide equivalent and represents all greenhouse gas or GHG emissions. From an individual, event, organization, service, or product, you can place your house wherever you like in this fashion. The CEO of Boxable is Paolo Tiramani. The business announced in a YouTube video that it has just built a casita home in Boca Chica for a well-known and top-secret client in November 2021. Although no one was mentioned in the film, Boca Chica was a rather peaceful and quiet location prior to Elon Musk and SpaceX establishing a presence there. So it didn't take long for anyone to realize that Elon Musk's Boxable casita in Boca Chica had been delivered. The founder of Boxable, Galliano Tiramani, claims that there are a variety of reasons why house building has not yet operated in production. Thus, we have investigated and fixed all the issues. He also thinks that the difficulties with shipping logistics are shared by other producers of prefab homes. The goal is that this will be directed at additional housing units, which are rising in popularity in California. Boxable made the decision to create the company in 2017 as a result of this spark. It aspires to industrialize building construction around the world into a production line. Similar to any other object you can produce, a house would be built, brought to your site, and set up within an hour. While some activities during unboxing require heavy apparatus, most of the unboxing could be done by humans. When the outside wall is opened, the other side walls can be seen and the outer wall transforms into the floor. The entire building is covered once the roof is opened. A tiny apartment in a package for 1 or 2 people. It has been engineered to be both energy and environmentally friendly. Your regular energy bills will be as low as possible thanks to the use of the low energy innovation, to guarantee that the dwellings Boxable constructed were made of elements that would not decay. The company spent years prototyping. The fact that even Elon Musk wished to live there shows how great the home architecture is. Musk is currently residing in a 37 square meter studio. His home was built to be boxed. It is a new construction company that specializes in residential units that are simple to install. A mobile home costs $15,000 to purchase. The cost of landscaping, permits, and other utility connections are not included in this sum. Musk has the resources to finish the specifics of his plans and advance modular housing. Musk no longer owns lavish ships and mansions worth millions of dollars. In contrast to the majority of the world's billionaires, he has wanted to live this way for a long time. It appears that Musk has no regrets about his choice. When asked about a small house in Texas, he posted his response. We are all aware that Musk's decision to halt Bitcoin transactions for Tesla vehicles is motivated by his concern for the environment. Since he considers sustainability as one of Tesla's guiding principles, his desire to reside in a little home is understandable. Casita Galliano Tiramani, the startup company's chief of business development, and their primary product, Home, are based outside of Los Angeles. Alternatives to Boxable claim to have invested years in development and research. The Tesla CEO is happy that he found a way to quickly construct high-quality, inexpensive housing. In fact, the firm already has 2 of these residences close to the Starbase region. Despite its diminutive size and low cost, Tesla headquarters is not inexpensive in terms of quality. The sidewalls, floors, and roofs of the units are functionally laminated with panels composed of steel and EPS foam, which will not distort and last a lifetime. Boxable Tesla houses assert that their modest residence is incredibly energy efficient. The implementation of LED lighting and technology promotes resident comfort while conserving resources. These houses are robust, snow-resistant in 90% of North America, and retrofittable to suit the other 10%. Compared to traditional homes, tiny houses typically consume less energy and have smaller footprints, which is better for the environment. According to the manufacturer, they are far more durable than the typical building composed of magnesium oxide wallboard. These environmentally friendly materials for mold and mildew resistance, as well as fire resistance, are made to withstand extreme weather conditions like hurricanes. First, it is already known that Musk desires to visit and settle Mars. As per Inc. magazine, he is trying out the Boxable tiny house as the foundation for a home on Mars. Even the barren environment surrounding the SpaceX facility has a Mars-like quality to it. Second, you might believe that Musk is simply upgrading minimalism. However, that way of existence is essential for surviving on another world. I suppose things kind of drag you down, he added. Actually, Elon Musk's drastic downsizing into a tiny residence isn't just a curiosity. He's trying out his dream existence. Although Musk exposed one that didn't even lament the small box house, which is now functioning as the Tesla CEO's principal house. It is excellent to have a tiny boxable casita on such a land. They have departed from this modular mega mansion. What do you think about Musk's new $15,000 home?
We need to fire crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, and turn the page on his nightmare presidency. Our country has gone to hell.
I think Trump has to win big in order to win, because if it's close, I don't trust it.
Trump, Tucker, Elon, and Fox presenter unite in a resounding warning. America's future hangs in the balance, and Joe Biden's presidency is leading us straight into the abyss.
So big picture, the rest of us for decades now have been bullied into allowing the dumbest and most corrupt among us to run everything.
An American car going to China, think of that, pays 25% import duty. So we send our car over there, pay 25%. They send their car over here, 2.5%. 10 points, that's from Elon, but everybody knows it. They've known it for years, they never did anything about it. It's got to change.
You can have a system that nobody actually supports except the people directly benefiting from it. This is the main thing I've learned in the past 5 years that I'm 54, I've lived in this country my whole life. And because I, unlike everyone else in Washington, actually kind of believed in the basic premise of democracy, which is the majority rules, that's the most basic fact of democracy. The people run their own government.
The cornerstone of democracy, free speech, is under siege, threatening the very foundation of our democratic process, as misinformation and censorship cloud the truth.
Pretty obvious that free speech is the bedrock of democracy, and if you lack free speech, it's impossible to have a proper democratic process because people are not aware of the facts, or they may be misled. So people have to be able to speak their mind within the context of the law, and without that, you don't have a real democracy.
Well, the problem, Brian, is that the original allegations are really fading away because more serious problems are now mounting. You know, if they committed perjury, if they filed false statements in court, they could face personal charges. They could be referred to the bar. I mean, the stakes are very high here.
Amidst the chaos, one thing remains clear. America must reclaim its strength with strong borders and free and fair elections as non-negotiable pillars of our nation's revival.
To every American who wants his country to be strong again, safe again, and successful again, our campaign and our movement is for you. Whether you're a Republican, an independent, or a disillusioned Democrat, and there are many, many of them, I think about 70% of their party, I'm asking you to join us on this noble quest to save our country and to make America great again. Right now, we're a laughingstock all over the world. All over the world, they laugh and they think it's funny. We don't think it's funny. We're a laughingstock. This is a movement of patriotism and common sense. Every day, more Americans are joining our cause, including record numbers of African Americans, Hispanic Americans, young people, men, women, people with diplomas, people without diplomas, people that didn't go to high school, people that went to the best colleges in the world, became doctors. We don't have to agree on everything, but we can agree on our nation. It has to be strong again. We need strong borders. If we don't have strong borders and if we don't have free and fair elections, we don't have a country. We don't want illegal aliens invading our country and our people. We can agree that we need to support our police officers. I'm going to get them immunity so that when our police officers stop, they're not going to be destroyed by the radical left and get dangerous off our street, and they're going to do it.
Trump's disdain for Biden's record is palpable, with inflation and other woes serving as glaring reminders of the failures of his administration.
Do you have a preference in, assuming you're the Republican nominee and all goes as you plan it to go, do you have a preference in who you run against?
In many ways, I'd love to run against him because his record's so bad. You know, it's still horrible when you look at inflation and everything else, but others also have very bad records. I mean, California's a bad record, so, you know, should it be Gavin or should it be somebody else? When I look at San Francisco, what's happened to that incredible city? That was one of the greatest cities in the world just a short while ago, and now it's very sad when you look at it. Los Angeles, every city practically, all the Democrat-run cities. You know, Republican-run cities are doing very nicely because they arrest people when you have, and they don't go after political candidates because they think it's good. You know, I mean, it's like been amazing. My poll numbers are the highest I've ever had. But because people understand it.
Can I just ask you, that gets back to my original question. So if the protest didn't work, you got elected anyway. Yeah. Impeachment didn't work twice, obviously. Indictment is not working. Your poll numbers go up. When they raided Mar-a-Lago in August of last year, your numbers went up. They can indict you 20 times and you're not gonna lose the Republican primary because of that.
Well, so it makes it look even more ridiculous. I mean, the 4 indictments, and maybe there'll be more. I don't know. These people are crazy.
But they're counterproductive. So if you chart it out, it's an escalation, is what I'm saying. Yeah. So what's next after, try to put you in prison for the rest of your life? That's not working. So don't they have to kill you now?
I think the people of our country don't get enough credit for how smart they are. And I'm not sure I would have said this 10 years ago, but they get it. You know, they really get it. When somebody gets indicted, your poll numbers go down. When somebody gets indicted, you announce, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be leaving to spend time with my family and to fight for the rest of my life on this stuff.
Letitia James, New York's Attorney General, sparks further turmoil, setting a dangerous precedent in her quest to fulfill political promises, leaving chaos in her wake.
We begin tonight with this. More chaos out of New York, with the state's Attorney General, Letitia James, just set a dangerous new precedent in order to fill her political campaign promise, which is to go after one organization, the Trump Organization, one man, Donald Trump, one family, the Trump family. The New York Attorney General cooked up a bizarre civil case, got a far-left New York leftist judge to rule in her favor, is now threatening to seize Donald Trump's businesses and properties if he doesn't come up with what is an unprecedented $500 million bond. 30 bond companies, they don't do that kind of business. Now, this is a case straight out of the old Soviet Union. No victims here. The banks that New York claims were defrauded, none of them complained. They all made money, paid on time with interest. They were eager to do business with Donald Trump again. Now, keep in mind, financial institutions, they have their own fiduciary responsibility to do their own valuations. You don't loan hundreds of millions of dollars for a real estate project or insure hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate Unless you do your own due diligence, the Trump organization even had a written disclaimer given to every bank and every insurance company: do not use the Trump organization's valuations.
In a democracy, the suppression of certain voices undermines the essence of representation, leading to a system that betrays its own democratic ideals.
So if you have a system that calls itself democratic, where the people with power prevent the population from choosing certain people to lead them, then you have, by definition, a system that is not a democracy. Again, by definition, we don't need to debate that. This is not something that we have encountered in the course of American history until this election cycle, when you have the frontrunner on the Republican side, in fact, the frontrunner overall, the man who, all things being equal, will be the next president, Donald Trump, invalidated from running for office in certain states. And that's the product of a longstanding effort by permanent Washington to prevent him from running and prevent voters from voting for him. And they're doing that through the courts, as they so often do. Donald Trump is now fighting nearly 100 charges across the United States, for which, if convicted, he would spend the rest of his life in prison. Now, the first thing to know about these charges is they're not what you were promised. You were told for 4 years that Donald Trump was a world historic, and you might have sort of started to suspect that maybe there was some truth in that. Maybe he killed a building inspector in New Jersey in 1975, and the remains would be discovered in the Meadowlands, and you like Trump, but you'd have to admit, yeah, he's kind of... But that's not at all what happened. The 100 charges that Donald Trump faces right now are, with no exception at all, ridiculous. They're picayune, piddling, minor, or they're just absurd and completely made up.
We can agree that we must end Joe Biden's inflation nightmare and get our economy booming again for hardworking American families. We can agree that we need to unleash American energy. We were energy independent just 3.5 years ago, and that we are not going to ban gasoline-powered cars and mandate expensive all-electric vehicles, which are all going to be made in China. And you know, they don't go very far. They cost too much money, and they're not for you. But if you want one, you can get one, but you also can get other propulsions if you want. You'll get other propulsions. You'll get gasoline-powered engines. We have so much gasoline. We have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation by far, but we don't use it. But we're going to start using it. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to get your energy prices down. We're going to get your gasoline prices down, and we're going to give you a choice of cars. You can buy energy. You can buy anything you want for a great price. And that's what we want to take advantage of. We want to take advantage of our liquid gold that we have right under our feet. We can agree that we need to keep America out of foolish foreign, and we can agree that it is time to restore free speech in America. Above all, we can agree that this November, we're going to bring it back, and we're going to bring it back fast. So please join us, and together we will make America great again. It will be about putting America first, but we're going to make our country better than ever before.
We'll both make our cases,
right,
and we'll see what the outcome is.
What are the economics of that for you? I mean, you have enormous resources, so you can actually keep this company going for a very long time. Would you keep it going for a long time if there was no advertising?
I mean, if the company fails because of an advertiser boycott, it will fail because of an advertiser boycott. And that will be what bankrupts the company, and that's what everybody on Earth will know.
What do you think then of the... this goes back to the idea of trust, though.
Then it'll be gone. And it'll be gone because of an advertiser boycott. There was basically oppression of any views that would even, I would say, could be considered middle of the road. But certainly anything on the right. I'm not talking about like far right. I'm just talking mildly right. The people like Republicans were suppressed at 10 times the rate of Democrats.
Trump laments the untapped potential of America's vast resources, highlighting the paradox of abundance amidst scarcity caused by bureaucratic mismanagement.
That's why it has to be a landslide. He's got to win these Rust Belt states like he did in 2016. And right now, if you look at the polling, he wins handily. I mean, he wins in a landslide. And he's ahead in every single battleground, but it's not over yet. Biden's going to throw a ton of money at him. The FBI and the CIA are already teeing up a counterintelligence investigation. If you look at what they're saying about Donald Trump, they're already saying that because they're taking all his money and properties, he's going to have to then borrow money from someone overseas. That could trigger an FBI counterintelligence investigation. And they're also saying he's a domestic threat because they're combining the dictator on day one hoax with the bloodbath hoax to make it look like it's going to be a civil. So the big intel is going to be crawling all over this campaign again, like they did last time. It's just whether or not the American people can see through that kind of noise.
The suppression of conservative voices echoes a disturbing trend of political bias, disproportionately silencing dissenting viewpoints.
So this is the moment when it's important to remember that the United States is a great country. It's the most powerful country in the history of the world. It's got hundreds of millions of really decent, hardworking, honest people living in it. And so you have to ask, why is it run by people like that? Transparent morons who are corrupt and arrogant, who are mismanaging everything. Like, why do we allow that? Why do we allow that? Good question. Meanwhile, over in the state of New York, Donald Trump was just ordered to pay $350 million for the of taking loans from banks for real estate deals and paying back those loans. There's no actual fraud here. He paid back the loans. These are huge banks, some of the biggest banks in the world. They were happy with the terms, but the state of New York is not happy.
Despite its greatness, America is led by a cadre of inept and corrupt officials, raising questions about the state of leadership in the world's most powerful nation.
I would prefer to, personally, I would prefer to live in interesting times. And we live in the most interesting of times. I think for a while there, I was like really getting demotivated and losing sleep over the threat of AI danger. And then I finally sort of became fatalistic about it and said, well, even if I knew it was certain, would I choose to be alive at that time or not? And I said I probably would choose to be alive at that time because it's the most interesting thing, even if there's nothing I could do about it.
As citizens, it's imperative to scrutinize the actions of those in power, holding them accountable for their decisions and priorities, lest we fall victim to the whims of incompetent leadership.
And I hate to believe that that's true in this country, but all the evidence suggests that it is. In fact, it's provable. You know how you prove it? Public opinion polling. Take a look at the latest Gallup poll. Pick a poll. What are the top 10 issues for people in the United States? And then compare those to the priorities of your leaders. So people are leaving Michigan because it's very hard to make a living here, and you're constantly hassled by a government that never stops growing and that is leeching off an economy that hasn't grown in decades, okay? That's the truth. Take a look at the priorities of the low IQ lunatic who's running your state, Gretchen Whitmer, who deserves zero respect, no respect. Her priorities are what? Putting you in jail if you, quote, misgender somebody? What percentage of the population of the state of Michigan, even southeastern Michigan, is on board with that as a top concern? It's like roughly around 1/10%, okay, in that range. The things that people care about, Gretchen Whitmer couldn't care less about because democracy isn't functioning.